my phone would just not stop buzzing, and I loved it. I earned $138,000 in digital product sales from a simple sales funnel that started with a $7 product, but with a twist. You see, while most entrepreneurs are building complex funnels with 47 steps and fancy automations, this funnel that I'm about to show you here in this video generated passive income notifications all day long. Oh, and I was starting with near zero experience, by the way, when it comes to selling digital products. In just 12 months, I went from beginner to $56,000 earned for the year, then $82,000 the following year, then use that as a springboard to scale our business to over $100,000 earned per month in sales revenue. But here's what nobody tells you about digital products. The secret isn't the product. Today I'm breaking down for you the exact funnel structure, the one digital product type that consistently converts, and the psychological trigger that turned browsers into buyers. Plus the simple mistake that kept us hovering between 3 to 5K in monthly sales for way too long. By the end, you'll have the complete funnel blueprint, the traffic strategy that costs you nothing out of pocket, and why this approach beats traditional course launches every single time. Okay, so now that I have made a bunch of promises to you, allow me a few minutes here to fulfill on them so that you can gain this knowledge and then go apply it in your own business, and it can help you to either grow a business from scratch or scale your existing business. Because honestly, like the tactics that I'm showing you here, I'm going to be giving you timeless principles that they just work. They just work if you apply even just one of them, and you'll be able to get a result. And honestly, like I love watching videos like this, and I love therefore making videos like this, because I'll often walk away with just one or two key insights that end up making me just tens of thousands of additional dollars and just saving so much more time. So I'm quite confident that you'll get at least one or two or more of those in this video here. So just to start off, just so you know that I'm not an AI slop marketing avatar, and that I am a real person made out of flesh and bone. I'm actually a real human entrepreneur who has actually done what I claim. You can see on the screen here, I'll just kind of like hover along here. These are sales showing aggregate total 138K earned from digital product sales. And also you can see my claim that we grossed over 100K, averaged over 100K in monthly recurring revenue for our business. Coming off of this, you can see those numbers as I hover across the screen here when we became a 7-figure company for the first time in 2021. So I'm telling you this from experience in terms of what has actually worked for me, for our company, and also just, combining that with tons of data points that I've gathered from working with clients across dozens and across hundreds of different industries. And so the insights here that I'm giving you, they're coming both from my experience as well as working with thousands of clients over 15 years across hundreds of different industries. All right, so to start things off, let's just recap some of the basics, because we often need to be reminded more than we need to be taught just brand new concepts. Because if we hear things, but we hear them in different ways, it helps us to like fully learn them, and certain things just kind of like click into place and we get different insights that way. So this is your funnel, okay? I know I'm an artist. This is going to be hanging in a museum pretty soon. So when that happens, you can say you were here to see it first. So this is your funnel. Think of this as the 3 Fs. 3 Fs is just an easy way to remember it. Foundation, okay, follow up, and fuel. So basically fuel is whatever you do to cause traffic to come into your sales funnel, okay? So basically you have, strangers on the internet. Okay, this guy's got kind of a skeptical face. He's like, I see your stuff. I see your social media posts. I see your blog articles. I maybe see your ads. We'll talk about that related to the strategy I'm going to recommend to you here to actually fuel your funnel coming up. But you want to attract more of these people who are just, skeptical. I'm going to totally butcher this. This is supposed to be like his hand on his face, like thinking, it's not bad, I guess. Like, can I trust you? Do you actually know what you're talking about? So he gets into the funnel. All right, you've attracted him by doing something to get in front of him or her. And then he goes through the stages. He goes to foundation. So the fuel again, so this is your social media. This is blog articles. Okay. SEO is dying, and I pretty much agree with that. But, depending on the type of business you have, it can still work quite well, or at least give you some incremental traffic. And you can also have ads, referrals from affiliates, for example. So these are all things that are driving traffic into the top of your funnel. People make their way down the funnel into the fuel stage, or rather into the foundation stage first. And these are basically your web pages. Okay. This may also be, in other words, like landing pages. All right. With information on your products or services that you have to offer. Oftentimes, if you're bringing someone in from, say, a YouTube video like this one, like we have our lead magnet, which I'll invite you later in the video to go ahead and download. And by the way, if you're enjoying the video so far, please consider giving it a like and subscribe. So you'll see offers for lead magnets on a landing page. You'll get onto someone's email list, and then they're going to follow up with you. Sometimes you can move immediately from foundation all the way down to the bottom of the funnel. And that means the sale is, or at least an initial sale is made. Okay. Could be for a small amount, like we're going to talk about for something like as small as $7, which would be like a tripwire type of offer. And then you want to upsell onto something that is, like your core service or your core offering. And ideally, you have some sort of ongoing virtuous cycle that's happening at the bottom of your funnel where, customers are so happy because you're over delivering on what you're selling to them, which means that they just want to just go nuts. They want to send other people your way. Like every customer becomes an affiliate, a fan. They want to buy more from you. Just take my money, take it. So that's the ideal in terms of, what we want to achieve. And those are the basics: foundation, website, pages. It's your web pages, your landing pages, your offers that go along on those pages. The follow-up, this is your retargeting ads, your email nurture sequences, your email newsletters, and fuel. So that's what actually drives people to be aware that you exist, whether it's on happening, people coming to your website, or actually happening in terms of you posting or they see your brand on other people's platforms like LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, so on. Okay, so now with those basics out of the way, let's take a look at what the funnel actually looked like, that you can model or copy to your heart's content. And I'll give you some really useful advice if you're going to copy it or model it in terms of what will work and what won't work. So here's exactly how it works in real simple terms. So again, you got your fuel. This is more or less the top of the funnel. I swear it's not my intent for this to look like boobs. It's supposed to be eyeballs. So basically people see your stuff, all right? And then they're going to come to some sort of a landing page. Usually, you can have Facebook ads where the opt-in for a lead magnet, for example, can happen actually within the feed. But ideally, the most qualified real email subscribers, they're going to have to put in a little more effort. So they're going to come to a landing page. They're going to see your offer. And they say, okay, this looks pretty good. I want a sales funnel checklist, for example. This has been one of our top lead magnets for a very long time. And then after they opt in to your email list, they give you their email in exchange for you delivering on said lead magnet. You bring them to another page and you say, hey, everything they just requested is on its way to your inbox. In the meantime, check out this new offer that we have. So this is where your tripwire offer is. And this is exactly how it worked for us. We had a $7 offer for a swipe file of different sales funnel assets. This was basically a curated collection of high quality sales copy, landing pages, ads, content, just every single component of a funnel across different industries that we felt would help the customer who would buy this to actually make their funnel or funnels for their clients, if they're, a consultant or an agency, that much better. So that way they're not starting from scratch. They can model what is already working out there in the marketplace. So then here's the answer to the question of what was the twist? So we were selling a $7 product, but with a twist, it's twofold. Part of the twist was we would then, after a significant percentage, usually about 10 to 20%, we had a really high conversion rate because we optimized the hell out of it over time. We A/B tested the price. We gave different payment options, things like this. $7 worked best for us. You might be able to optimize it, say, for something higher or lower for higher throughput. And then using a third-party tool like Samcart, for example, we were able to have one-click upsells. And just the low amount of friction involved there was a big, big component with how and why we were able to to sell as much volume as we did for our higher priced offers. So here, for example, we would say, hey, and we would give our secondary offer. And I would kind of go against the grain. I would actually give like a $49 offer because $7 is relatively inexpensive. And we would give a $49 offer, for example, for our sales funnel diagram pack, which is just like, okay, that's like the next stage of value. It's like, okay, you got the funnel components. Now you need the diagrams to go with it. So the products are complementary. The price is significantly higher, right? So this kind of goes against some research that's out there. But for us, it actually converted really well. So we just continued with it. And then, after that, we would have, if they accepted it, if they said yes, we would say, okay, hey, 2 exclamation marks on this. And we would have an even higher dollar value offer, something maybe for $97 or $199. And we would keep escalating for as many products as we actually had to offer, or packages. Because again, you can package this, you can turn, in a way, you can make 3 products become 9 products, because 3 times 3, you could package them in different ways, different configurations, different price points. If they buy all 3 together, for example, you can package it even as different payment options, right? You can pay over time, retention, ongoing type of offer, for example. We'll come back to that, by the way. But let's say they just purchased this, and they would come down here, and instead of being escalated, we'd follow up with them. So in either case, even if they didn't take the $7 tripwire, we're still going to follow up with them through email, sending both newsletters as well as an automated email follow-up sequence. So these would kind of continue. And what we would say is we would bring them back to a separate landing page, maybe promoting the next level offer. Like wherever they left off or whatever they did not see, we would try to present to them that offer. And it doesn't have to be too complicated too. Like what we would do oftentimes, here on the landing page, on the lead magnet landing page, we would actually ask them a question. We would say, okay, what's your biggest challenge in terms of marketing, and what best describes you? So we would understand who they are in terms of like how they identify. Okay, I'm a coaching business, I'm an agency, I'm a SaaS business, I'm an e-commerce. And we understand too, like what problem do they most want to solve right now? And then based on that, if all they did was take that offer, we would then drop them into a survey funnel. Okay. With depending on how they answer those questions, A, B, C. And again, just bear with me because this sounds like it's more complex, but it's actually simpler than you may think. So with these, we would then drop them into another email follow-up sequence. Okay, those are supposed to be envelopes. Excellent. Hanging in a museum any day now. Okay, and we're going to go for 3 and 1. Boom, boom, cha-cha. You get the idea. Okay, so this email sequence, path A, path B, path C, would be based on what they told us about who they are and what their biggest problem was. The reason why we would do this, and you can go look up more data on this if you're interested. This is, in the past, we had a different brand name. We were branded as AutoGrow. We rebranded as Grobo. But you can look this up on Google if you're interested. And you can see how, this is like old school, like when we used to use like Wufoo forms. I mean, this was years ago at this point. But again, asking people to identify themselves, selling them on just taking a second to fill it out. We use Right Message right now to survey people at the point of opt-in. So it's actually much smoother and much better looking than this. But this worked incredibly well for us because as you can see here, before we had the survey funnel in place, our engagement rate would be between 4 to 9%. In other words, people are opening, clicking the emails. But afterwards, it would skyrocket to average between 31 to 40%. So roughly a 3 to 4x increase in terms of engagement. And that translates to a lot more sales because again, why does this work? What's the principle at work here? It's personalization. We're just giving people more of what they want. And shocker, if you give people more of what they want and your content that you are giving them is helping them to get 1 or 2 or a few steps down the path towards actually solving that problem, then they're more likely to trust you and to want to actually buy from you, especially if what you're selling aligns with the solution that they're looking for to solve X, Y, or Z problem. And I want to take a minute to underscore the lesson here because it's the answer to another promise that I made to you at the start of this video, which is the secret really isn't, the product, it isn't how complex or how fancy your funnel is. The biggest secret is threefold, okay? It's finding out what people want in your audience, okay? figuring out what you would also love to create and love to sell to them that overlaps with what they want. And third, offering people products that they want, which aligns with what your expertise is and what you love to sell. So it's a win-win-win. And then launching early and fast, which includes pre-selling. We did a ton of pre-selling. Every time we were about to create a new product, I would literally just put up a pre-sale page. I would sell before we would build or create the damn thing, because every product would take at a minimum tens of hours, if not hundreds of hours. Like in the case of our proven sales conversion pack, I think it took us about 500 hours total to create that and then code it up and do all the research for it. And it was very extensive, very, very valuable product with all these proven sales funnel and conversion case studies. We still sell it today on our website. If you're interested, you can go check it out. But really, that's the secret. Find out what people want, know what you love to do, what you are capable of doing in terms of your skill set, and what we would also love to sell to people. And then where's the intersection between those things? And why is that important? Why should you consider doing what you love? It's because it's sustainable. It's because it's going to give you some sort of an unfair advantage. You're going to have so much more energy to wake up every day and work on this business if you find the intersection of those two things. If you wake up every day and you're confident that you found out what your audience wants and you're delivering it to them, but you actually just hate the work, as many people do, you're not going to succeed. You're not going to succeed long term. I mean, I can't tell you how many marketers I see who are here today, gone tomorrow. I mean, I've been doing this for over 15 years just in this company. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 19, and I fundamentally love learning. I love marketing and business, and especially today with AI, I think it's a fascinating time to be alive. So that gives me so much more energy to put into videos and offers and to sell to our audience. But it's a constant calibration of if we're going to come out with something new, is this also going to align with what I value in terms of meaning and with what I believe I can sustain outputting energy on for a long, extended period of time? And by the way, part of your survey funnel, you can also, especially early on, you can give people a third question. It doesn't have to be too robotic with, even if you don't have any products, you just ask people what do you want? And for example, here on the screen, this was years ago, got this message from someone named Nick in our audience. And he was giving feedback on a course offering that we were selling to him and saying the copy wasn't working for me because the modules in the course, I didn't really understand what was the value of each module or what you go over. I kind of need more of a clear explanation, what is inside. So then we were able to use this feedback to then, like magic, right? But it's not, just apply that to the copywriting and the design of the page and make the page actually convert better. The principle being, better to be clear than to be clever. It's kind of a cliche at this point, but it works. So returning to the funnel blueprint here, to recap, this would escalate all the way to our highest ticket offers. Okay. And then most people wouldn't actually make it that far. They would drop off maybe by the third step, for example. But some people would actually check out and spend $1,000 in a single visit. And this is where the twist comes in. We weren't really just selling $7. We knew that on average, using spreadsheets and just our own tool, which was Samcart, knew that one sale on average would net us $43. And again, the margins on digital products are quite high. So most of that was gross profit. And then if you're wondering about the content for the survey funnel, because again, trust me from experience, I've gone all out on this. I've experimented with it in different ways. You can create a 300 plus, survey funnel where each email is individualized and unique. The problem with it is that it's not very sustainable. It's very hard over time to maintain and to keep updated because your offers will be changing. And most of the tools, we use ActiveCampaign, they're just not so well built to make it super easy for you to maintain it, to change the call to action. It's at the bottom of every email, we would actually just, bring people back to, depending on, what their interest was from the survey funnel, we'd bring them back to a landing page for one of the other offers. Okay. And at the bottom, we would sell them on, our highest ticket offer, for example. Okay. And our highest ticket offer might be something like $1,000 or more. Now, getting back to another promise that I made you at the start of this video, the psychological trigger that turned browsers into buyers. Well, what's happening here between the landing page and the tripwire being shown, I know it's getting a little complicated here on the canvas, but I think you can see it clear enough. When people would opt in to the lead magnet on the lead magnet landing page coming from whatever data source, social media, SEO, and so on, they were making some sort of a minor commitment. They were taking an action, they were aware of that action, and the psychological trigger that's at play here is commitment and consistency. The commitment and consistency bias, it's a cognitive bias that describes the tendency to remain consistent with prior commitments, actions, or beliefs, even when doing so may be irrational. So part of the reason why our conversion rate from the landing page to the tripwire would be high is that people had already made a commitment, they'd already opted in. There was already some sort of action taken. And so to deny and say no rather than yes, the yes would be more likely to happen because they just said yes to something else. You can relate this to laddering. It's a concept in sales where people say yes, yes, yes to gradually, more things. And this is essentially, I guess you could argue that the same concept here, but the psychological trigger is that the commitment and consistency bias. Because by opting in to receive a lead magnet, people are inherently then much more likely to buy the follow-up tripwire for $7 on the thank you page over here. So you might also be wondering, what was that mistake that I mentioned that kept us locked into this monthly revenue range of 3 to 5K, where is very hard to break out of. I mean, I think we got up to 6K 1 month. And we just kept optimizing, kept doing things. But every month, because there was no retention offer, there was no reoccurring revenue or subscription offer built into the funnel, in part, we would have to sell again every single month to a fresh batch of customers. And of course, we were trying to upsell the existing customers. But I was being a bit stubborn. I wanted to see how far we could scale the info products funnel by itself. And instead, what I was missing was, people were willing to buy more expensive products and services. So number one, it was just coming out with some sort of a more expensive offering. So I think that, for example, in terms of the recurring revenue, we could have offered some sort of a simple SaaS solution that I could have coded up myself and or with our team. We could have had some sort of a coaching offer, because we had a done-for-you offer that we then came out with later. And this was a big reason, just having this as the foundation. It wasn't until the end of the second year that we started to come out with the done-for-you offer once again. And sales for that were just so much easier because we had this existing customer base of thousands of people who had purchased from us, who had already built up trust and rapport with, and they would get on the phone with us. Oh, I bought the course. Oh, I bought, the swipe file. Oh, I bought, the diagram pack, and it was pretty valuable. And people would book calls with us just based on the fact that they'd bought something. The surprising thing too was that some people would buy because they just maybe want to skim it over, and they just wanted a sample of it before then actually spending money on a more expensive product or service that we had to offer. But the most interesting thing was that, again, this was the springboard for how we grew from, and we got out of this situation where we were just locked into 3 to 5K per month to the point where we were breaking 100K per month in gross revenue every single month in 2021. In 2020, we had changed the offer. So, sales had kind of gone down. We got to 10K MRR, and then we skyrocketed from that point because everything in our funnel started to click. We were funneling so much traffic back into it, both in terms of content and in terms of ads working together. And the diligence around getting to here came from just being detail oriented and making sure that our content was good, our content was on point. Now, today it's a little different. The market landscape has changed. SEO is more or less dying. You should kind of assume, or at least it's gone way down. You can still get traffic at the bottom of your funnel for transactional related keywords. Today, if I was going to do this over again in today's environment, in the age of AI, I would focus on omnichannel. I would make short videos between 10 to 25 minutes, just like we're doing right here, right now. And what we do with that, we make one video per day. You don't have to be that aggressive. We're just more aggressive because, I'm excited. I want to get up the learning curve. I want to get as much data as possible so we can keep improving. So we're doing 5 days per week. You can do 1 to 2 days per week and you can start seeing results fairly quickly. I recommend in the beginning, like maybe just do like a whole bunch of reps, like even for just like a week or two, and then maybe pull back as you learn and you start to see some data coming back to you of what's working and what's not. Because some channels, for example, YouTube and LinkedIn work best for us. Right now, we haven't cracked the code on Instagram, for example, at least as far as, for our business and our offerings. And we haven't really tried, to be honest, but we're going omni-channel. We're doing, again, the video is kind of the centerpiece. That gets turned into an article, which gets turned into a newsletter. And then we're also going out to publish reels, short videos, YouTube shorts across YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and I think 1 or 2 other channels. And for us right now, YouTube and LinkedIn are working the best. So we're just going to keep doubling down on those while still developing the other channels in the meantime. So just to recap on the traffic strategy that costs you almost nothing out of pocket. Again, it's called omnichannel. Again, the video is kind of the cornerstone of it. And then a lot of people, you don't want to get on video. I get it. If you get used to it or you have someone on your team, a business partner, whoever can handle that responsibility and is good on camera, even if you're in some sort of an obscure niche, like all the better. You can probably stand out even more, even if you're just getting an audience of just like a few dozen people to watch it over time. Those are potential customers and clients of yours. So my recommendation is just get started, just start getting content out there. You want to make it good enough to launch, but don't try to get it perfect. And then you will find perfection, because perfection is a path. It is not a destination. And if you want to do audio only, you can do that as well, but you can also repurpose it into a podcast. Okay. You can just write an article and then read it. Try to be interesting, right? Just move your hands a bit and try to look alive, right? The second part of this traffic strategy, though, is consistency. So doing it every week, okay? And ideally, the more often that you can do it in the beginning, the faster that you will get up the learning curve. Do not overwatch in terms of YouTube videos. There's a ton of content out there. I encourage you to subscribe to this channel because I am giving you probably some of the best nitty-gritty information here, and it's jam-packed into these short videos. I honestly can't speak fast enough to try to give you everything all at once. But consistency is key, because this is what your competitors aren't doing and what they aren't willing to do. They're not willing to put out, videos in the first place, let alone do more than 1 a year, for example, if even that. So simply by doing it and doing it on repeat, you're going to get better at it. You're going to beat your competition. The way to win in business, as it always has been, is to do what others are unwilling to do. This is one of the principles that I learned from Kevin McCartney, who was the co-founder of SoBe, which sold to Pepsi for more than $150 million adjusted for inflation some years ago. And the third component to this traffic strategy that costs you almost nothing out of pocket. And why nothing out of pocket? It's because, again, you just have to invest your time. But you have to invest something. It's either money or it's time. If you invest your money in terms of ads, great. But you might be a bit at the mercy of the constantly fluctuating ad costs of Facebook, Meta in general, which includes Instagram, of Google cost per click. And cost per click right now is up across the board, in part because of AI and AI overviews, flooding search results, meaning people are clicking through less. So marketers, business owners are advertising a lot more, and they're on social media a lot more. But from my testing, the quality of leads that you will get and the quality of customers that you will get is an order of magnitude better by going through more organic channels like social media, like YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and so on, rather than paying for access. So that being said, the final component here is focus. You need to know that no one is coming to fix it for you. All right. Now, my company, right, we at Grobo, we are a marketing fulfillment team for our clients. And part of the reason why I want to give this solution to clients is because fundamentally, many clients, they come to agencies and they don't get results. And it's not because agencies don't care. It's just because the economics of it just don't line up. And who cares the most? It's always the business owner. Who knows the customers in the market the best? Who knows the product or service the best? It's always the business owner, the partners in the business. So having a team like what Grobo can offer you to just execute on whatever it is your vision is in terms of your funnel, and who can collaborate with you and give recommended best practices based on what we see as working for us, what we see as working for others. That's really valuable. But a lot of people, the reason why being burned by an agency is so common is because too many business owners and entrepreneurs, they just want to be like, oh, here you go, figure it out for me. I'm too busy over here. It's like, are you really that busy? Like, marketing and sales, it is the most important function of your business. If you cannot continuously attract and convert customers and clients, then you will be out of business. So this is something that you fundamentally just have to care about, because you have knowledge that no marketing agency really will. Now, if you have enough money to throw out the problem, yeah, you can hire people, you can find an agency, you can find a consultant who will just care about it, but it's gonna be expensive, okay? For most of the people watching this video, it's much cheaper and it's much more rewarding if you simply go omni-channel, become consistent, and focus with the understanding that no one is coming to save you. You or someone on staff has to truly care and apply that competence and that knowledge that you have about your customers, about your product, about your service, about your audience, to be able to judge the marketing creative and the results and iterate and improve one day at a time. This was how we went from literally nothing to 56K, to then an additional 82K the following year, to then over 100K per month. It was just iteration and focus and consistency. All right. I know that's not the silver bullet fancy answer that maybe you want to hear, but it is the truth. Okay. And it's something that I have to fight myself with every single day, because there are so many distractions around us, and the number of temptations and distractions only increases as your success rises and as, we roll forward in the AI era. So I hope you found this video valuable. If you did, please like, subscribe, and share. And do check out grobo.com, where we give you an all-in-one marketing fulfillment team, and you can just delegate anything you want on demand in terms of from content and social media. We're talking newsletters, email automation sequences, everything in terms of your funnel. You can delegate to us. We will get it done for you with a fast turnaround time, depending on the package that you pick. So you get an all-in-one digital marketing team for less than the cost of one full-time virtual assistant. So check it out at grobo.com and hit the subscribe or share button now. I'd love to hear from you as well in the comments.